HD1 East St. Louis. 101 ESPN is driven by Auto Centers Nissan, home of the lifetime warranty and 30-day return. It's time for the First Community Credit Union Blues postgame show.
Presented by Scott Lee Heating Company and Urban Chestnut Brewing Company on 101 ESPN.
Tavares let a kick out to Riley. Far wing, toe drag. Nylander tucks it in and scores. They couldn't deny Nylander the whole way. And the Leafs beat the Blues in overtime on a spectacular move.
Spectacular move, no doubt. I mean, William Nylander just dances a desperate Dylan Holloway trying to get to the puck, who was in a weird position. We'll talk about that in a minute, but then also just dances Jordan Binnington, and no chance for the goalie there as he goes the aggressive route. Nylander holds on to it and just puts it into the back of the net for the game winner in overtime. Welcome, everyone, into our fourth period extended post-game coverage on your home for the Blues 101 ESPN. Alex Ferrario with you as the Blues fall in overtime again. 3-2 the final score as it's now their third loss in overtime or a shootout in the last 5 games. Yes, picked up points, but man, these overtimes have been brutal for St. Louis. And this one actually felt like they had the momentum, had the opportunities to win it, but just didn't shoot the puck. Only 0 shots on goal by the Blues in overtime. And I mean, they possessed the puck. If I go to the Corsi rating over on Natural Stat Trick, at 5-on-5, I mean, the Blues possessed the puck for 2.5 minutes of that period. So they had the control. They just didn't get any shots on net, and the Blues essentially fall in overtime. And, man, you hate to see that play because now on social media I've already seen about 5 different posts of that video calling it the goal of the year. And man, a brutal one on the end of the Blues because you got a 2-on-1 along the boards. It's Broberg and Buchnevich on John Tavares, and no help around John Tavares. I mean, he pins it along the boards, those two guys, and it looks like Broberg's holding on to the stick of John Tavares to keep him from using it, and Pavel Buchnevich is just not able to win that puck battle. Tavares gets it with his foot, kicks it backwards, and then from there, it's just easy going for Nylander, dances around Holloway, and then dances around Jordan Binnington. But more importantly, it's you get beat on that board battle, and then you go in to look at it. John Tavares had been on the ice for 1 minute and 36 seconds. 1 minute and 36 seconds for John Tavares, who was on the ice. A gassed player, to say the least. Typically, those shifts are about 1 minute, maybe 1:10. But by the time you get to 1:36, boy, you're talking about lack of energy, and Tavares is able to muster up everything he has to win that battle against Broberg and Buchnevich, and the Blues essentially lose on not winning that board battle. So we'll hear from the locker room in just a bit. We'll hear from Jim Montgomery. We'll also have our final look, but now let's get to our Ted Drew's 3 takeaways.
It's time for tonight's 3 takeaways, presented by Ted Drew's Frozen Custard, a St. Louis tradition for over 95 years. Unmatched quality, unforgettable taste.
That's the first takeaway. It's an obvious takeaway. You didn't win the board battles. Now, in the game, I actually felt like you did win the board battles. You were the better team in regulation tonight, without question, with the exception of about a 10-minute shift in the second period. And the Blues righted that ship and only gave up 1 goal, considering what they've typically done in the second period. That's a positive, but you owned regulation, essentially. Like, you go into Natural Stat Trick, the Blues possessed the puck in regulation 55% of the period. They had 23 scoring chances compared to 14. They had 5 high-danger chances. So what that tells me is, 1, the Blues weren't really getting to the front of the net, and the heat map backs that up, but they still possessed the puck. They still were getting scoring chances. They outshot the Maple Leafs 64-54 in terms of shot attempts. The Maple Leafs had 12 D-zone turnovers. The Blues had 2 odd-man rushes and a total of 23 scoring chances, but they didn't capitalize. Again, they got the board battles in regulation, but the biggest board battle of them all, they didn't win in overtime, and that's what lost them the game. not capitalizing on chances, not getting to the front of the net, and 3-on-3 overtime, you lose the board battle that you absolutely have to win. And I'll be curious to hear what Jim Montgomery had to say. The other part about that goal that went in, and I'd love to just ask positioning-wise to the players and to the coaches, Dylan Holloway, and I understand you're kind of there as puck support in case it squirts out behind the goaltender, because if it does, Holloway retrieves it and you're off to the races. But, man, both Buchnevich and Broberg were on the far side boards. If that puck goes the opposite direction or comes out the way that it did, you're in no man's land with two guys against the goaltender. And Holloway does get back to at least put pressure on Nylander, but it's not enough. And it's kind of desperation getting over to it as it just goes straight to the back of the net. So a wild play in itself. But overall, you didn't capitalize on the chances that you had, and Toronto did, and you didn't win the biggest board battle of the game. Second takeaway for me. You do have to give props to a couple of areas. One, Jordan Binnington. Despite him giving up 3 goals, I thought Jordan Binnington was the reason that this game stayed tied going into overtime. And then on top of that, how about the power play in Dalibor Dvorsky? You want to talk about how special teams can impact your overall game? Dalibor Dvorsky's power play goal showcased it. The Blues were being outshot 10-3 in that second period. After Dvorsky scored, they outshot Toronto 9-1, and Toronto only had 5 shots on goal in the final 21 minutes following the Blues power play goal. So overall, the Blues showcased how quick a power play can shift the momentum, and they capitalized on their chance, which is something that they haven't been able to really do more. If you get more of those, you put yourself in a better position to succeed. And right now, I mean, Dalibor Dvorsky is just playing selfish hockey, which I know sounds negative. It's not meant to be. You need more players playing selfish hockey, because Dvorsky had 5 shot attempts, 3 on goal. Pretty much every time he found the puck, he put it on net. And of those 3 shots on goal, all of them came on the power play. 1 was in the back of the net. So the power play unit should try and emulate more of Dalibor Dvorsky, because when the puck's on your stick, you're just putting it on net and seeing what can happen. The Blues had a total of, 64 shot attempts at this one. So it's not that they weren't shooting the puck, but of those 64 shot attempts, 29 got on goal. 18 of them missed the net, and 16 of their shots were blocked, including 6 of them from Dylan Holloway. Hell of a night for Jordan Kyrou and Dylan Holloway. Kyrou with 12 shot attempts, 6 on goal, and then Dylan Holloway with 3 shots on goal, but had 6 of his shot attempts blocked by Toronto. And then the third takeaway for me, and I think this is what a lot of people are going to be talking about, and just going to be straight and honest about it, Pavel Buchnevich is to the point that I think if Jake Neighbors comes back, he might have to sit. And I hate saying it because you need Pavel Buchnevich, and my concern would be is if you bench Pavel Buchnevich, you might lose Pavel Buchnevich. But man, -3 tonight, 17-19, because remember, he kind of dropped down to play on that third line. That's compared to 21 minutes and 37 seconds of ice time for Robert Thomas, 16-13 for Jordan Kyrou. A little surprised at how few minutes he has. Some of that's the power play, though, as Kyrou played 2:07 on the power play. Buchnevich played 3:11. But not only a -3, 1 shot attempt. He had 1 shot attempt tonight, and it was blocked. And the biggest one that I think you can look at was in overtime prior to that William Nylander goal that won it. Broberg gives him a pass with a 2-on-1. Pavel Buchnevich stumbles over it, and to me looked like he was trying to make the pass over to Broberg again. It seemingly feels like he's just deflecting every chance to shoot the puck right now and pass it. And what they need, if they want Pavel Buchnevich to break out of this, is just put the puck on net. The more you shoot, the better chance you're going to have in breaking through and scoring. And we played the audio earlier from Jim Montgomery talking about Pavel Buchnevich. You know, when he is on his game and confident, he's one of the best players on the ice. He's not confident right now, and it's showing in the amount of the lack, I guess I should say, of willingness to shoot the puck. Here's his total shot attempts in his last 10 hockey games. 3 shot attempts, 0 shots on goal. 3 shot attempts, 1 shot on goal. 3 shot attempts, 2 shots on goal. 0 shot attempts, 0 shots on goal. 6 shot attempts, 3 shots on goal. 3 attempts, 1 on goal. 3 attempts, 2 on goal. And then tonight, 1 attempt, 0 on goal. Right now, they're trying to push through it for Pavel Buchnevich. But, man, this is one of those games. He was a -3, which I know plus-minus isn't everything, but you're a -3. You have that scoring chance at overtime that you don't shoot. It comes back the other way, goes into a board battle that you lose, and then Pavel Buchnevich, Philip Broberg lose that board battle, and Nylander puts it into the back of the net. So an overall frustrating loss, I would imagine, for the Blues. Yes, they did do good things tonight. I thought they were the better team in regulation. I thought the power play looked really good. How about the penalty kill going 3 for 3, allowing 2 shots on 4 minutes of a power play time for Toronto? And Binnington was great. Defensively, you really didn't allow much in terms of the slot in the middle of the ice. But, man, all of that is just erased when you talk about another game where you missed those opportunities to score. And in 3-on-3 overtime, you lost that board battle that found its way into the back of the net. So those are my takeaways. As always, we want to hear yours. 314-399-9646. Also our YouTube channel at 101 ESPN STL. Enough from me. Let's hear from Cam Fowler.
The soundbite of the night is presented by Rocket Convenience Stores. Fuel your car and your daily cravings at Rocket Convenience Stores.
Tough one to swallow. You guys probably deserve better in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a good game, a good hard-fought game. Both teams, there was desperation on both sides, and it comes down to a play or two, and give ourselves a chance at stealing a couple points on the road. So I think there's a lot that we can build off of.
Does it seem like it just comes down to a play or two with you guys here?
Yeah, I mean, tonight, yes, I think. I think if we look back on it, a couple bounces here and there, we could be looking at a different outcome. But at the end of the day, we got to find a way to start putting some wins in the win column here. So no matter what it takes or how we have to do it, it's a results-based game, and we have to figure out a way to start stacking some wins here.
What changed when you guys had the shot advantage, like 16-3 over a stretch of the game after you won on the power play?
I think we were just, we felt like we played a good period. The first period, it didn't show up obviously on the scoreboard or the shot total, but I think we just continue to stay with the process and believe in one another. We got a couple power plays in the second period, which got a goal and built some momentum off of that. So I think that kind of gave us a chance of getting back in the hockey game.
There you go. That's Cam Fowler, and appreciate Jeremy Rutherford helping us out from the road. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll hear from Jim Montgomery, and we'll get our final thoughts after the Blues fall in overtime 3-2 to the Maple Leafs. You're listening to it here on your home for the Blues, 101 ESPN. Alex Ferrario back with you to talk about my friends over at Classic Air Care, who are here to take care of your HVAC system as we are in the thick of really the back end of fall and about to hit winter season. Boy, that means that furnace is going to start working in overtime. You probably have already turned it on. You turned it back off. You turned your AC on. That's a lot of work if you got an older unit in your home. So that's why you need to call Classic Air Care, a company that has been making people comfortable since 1926. And why have they been around so long? It's because the incredible customer service that they provide and the knowledge of the technicians that come out and service your home. They've got guys who have been working there for 30 plus years that know their stuff, know the ins and outs of these HVAC systems. And that's what I truly love about it. I've had them come out to my home since 2016. And when they come out, they don't just come out and fix it and leave. They come out, they explain the problem, let you know kind of how to avoid it for next time, making sure you're doing the right precautions to take care of that HVAC system if you've got an older one. And then they let you know that you contact them anytime you've got issues. So call them today, schedule online, check out the maintenance agreement. It's Classic Air Care, and just do me a favor and tell them Alex Ferrario sent you, classicaircare.com.
to the First Community Credit Union Blues postgame show.
Presented by Scott Lee Heating Company and Urban Chestnut Brewing Company on 101 ESPN.
Final time tonight here on our St. Louis Blues extended post-game coverage, the fourth period on your home for the Blues 101 ESPN, along with Jordan Deacon. I'm Alex Ferrario as the Blues fall to the Maple Leafs 3-2 in overtime. Still yet to win a game in overtime. We've talked a ton about Blues struggling to keep the puck out of their own net, struggling to find the back of the net, and man, the overtime struggles has just been a wild one. Like, if I go back through, and I'm going to have to do this on the fly before we hear from Jim Montgomery, but you go back through and look at some of these overtime games that the Blues have lost. To the Kings, 0 shots on goal. The Canucks, they had 2 shots on goal in overtime, and that, of course, went to the shootout, and they lost that one. Overtime against the Seattle Kraken, 0 shots on goal. Overtime against the Flyers, 1 shot on goal, and then tonight, 0 shots on goal. So in the 5 overtime periods that the Blues have played this season, mind you, 2 of those 5 went to a shootout, which means they played the full 5 minutes of the 5 overtime games that the Blues have played. What is that, 25 minutes? Less than that, obviously, if they didn't go that far. They've put together a total of 5 shots on goal, if I'm not mistaken there. I think that's what I did on the math there. It's essentially 1 shot a game in overtime, which sometimes that's all you need. But the problem for the Blues is there's 3 of those games that they did not have a shot on goal in overtime, where this team was actually dangerous in overtime last year. And it's hard for me to say that it's because they don't have Jake Neighbors out there, because, I mean, Jake Neighbors is good. He's probably the 3rd guy that goes out there in the line. And I actually thought Robert Thomas, Jordan Kyrou, Dylan Holloway, they were really effective in overtime, had their scoring chances. It just missed the net. Parayko, Broberg, all had their scoring chances as well. It's just unfortunate that the shots missed the net or they didn't take the shot. And then, of course, the board battle that loses the game on the other side. Let's hear from Jim Montgomery after his team's loss in overtime.
It's time to hear from the head coach, Jim Montgomery, presented by Fisher Window and Door Store, offering quality American-made Marvin windows and doors. Visit their showrooms in Brentwood or East Alton, Illinois.
Monty, Holloway doesn't get the shot off at one end and then a board battle at the other. Can you take us through the OT sequence there?
Yeah, I mean, we had a couple of rush chances there that never materialized, really hitting the net. Holloway had the last one, then they went the other way, and we doubled up in the corner, and we weren't able to win that battle, which were 2 there, 1. I forget who there won. I think it was Tavares. I know it's a high-end player, but we got to win that battle, We had won a lot of battles during the game, and that was one that cost us the game.
Tough because of the way you played the second half of the game, a lot of urgency.
Yeah, I thought our first period, we actually liked our first period. We missed the net with 3 opportunities. We thought we were playing to the goal line, thought our forecheck was good, and we thought we were being physical and taking the right time and space. The first 11 minutes of the second period weren't very good. We weren't winning puck battles, weren't strong on our sticks, and they just came at us, And then we got that power play goal, and things kind of flipped. And then we started playing better.
I was going to ask you, what did change with that goal? Obviously, get a lift.
Yeah, I thought it was coming a little bit before that, 5-on-5. I think that's why we got the power play. But, in the third period, we just played more direct. I like the way we won a lot of battles.
Big picture, how do you look at it? I mean, so many good things to take away, but tough way to end it.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we did play with much more intention. We were much more physical, and those things are good. But we need to start winning games.
Yeah. I mean, that's just it. I saw somebody on the YouTube chat said Alex sounds like he's okay with losing. No, but I don't really know what else to say anymore. Like, we can only sit here and pick through the games with a fine-tooth comb. Actually, what am I saying right now, Jordan? We need to jump into the final look.
It's time to take a look back at tonight's game with the final look.
Driven by Pure Performance. Only stop for all your aftermarket vehicle needs.
Sell all the good stuff before we actually get to the segment. No, I'm not okay with all of the losing. But what else is there to say? we're picking through these games with a fine-tooth comb of, oh, well, we did this right and they did this right. It's why, one win doesn't feel like it makes a difference until you start seeing strings of victories together or strings of good games played together. Like this one tonight, I agree with Jim Montgomery. And I know people don't want to hear it because it's a loss. I thought they played well in regulation compared to what it looked like against Vegas, where it felt like they were sleepwalking through the game. And I think Justin Falk said afterwards that, it was like they were in airplane mode. That, or an autopilot, I think is what he said. That was not the case against the Maple Leafs tonight. But I'm also not going to look at that and say, well, you deserved to win this hockey game because you didn't go to the front of the net. You didn't get that sustained pressure. You rolled lines. You had your opportunities. You tilted the ice. But it was a lot of perimeter hockey, and there wasn't enough fight to get to the front of the net. And the overtime, I mean, Jim Montgomery said the exact same thing that I did. You got to win that board battle. It's 2-on-1 with a third guy waiting for the loose puck. Somebody has to come out with that puck away from the boards. I think Jim Montgomery said the other day, a few games ago, what he wanted from his team. He said, I want us to win board battles, puck battles. I want them to go in, come out with the puck in somebody's arm. That's the mentality he wanted, and you just didn't have it in that scenario. So am I okay with another loss? Absolutely not. I want to see this team start piling up victories. But right now, there's really nothing else to say until you start seeing it in action. There's no more of this, well, we're building towards something and there's elements to the game that are good. Absolutely. But you're losing pivotal board battles. You're making mistakes at the wrong time of the hockey game. And you're just not going to the front of the net to find those scoring opportunities. So all those things pile up to where the Blues are at right now. Do I think that they can turn this thing around and get it right? Yeah, hopefully. I don't know when Jake Neighbors comes back. One guy is not going to change this whole thing. But when you put somebody like a Jake Neighbors in, you've got somebody who goes to the front of the net. Was this the worst game that they have played this season? No, by far, no way. I mean, the Capitals in the Flyers game have to be up there. The Vegas Golden Knights one's probably up there as well. This one is an ugly loss because of the amount of people that were missing for the Maple Leafs. We've seen this before, that when teams are missing their best players, though, they knuckle down and seem to play tighter hockey. This was a game, we said it in pregame, both teams viewed as a must-win. And one team came out with a victory. The other one is going to be looking back saying, missed chances. But that's just where they're at right now. That's where they're at. And unfortunately for this team, I think a lot of fans aren't willing to look at one game with a couple of good elements to it or building blocks to it. They want to see wins. That's what Jim Montgomery said. It's what Cam Fowler said, and they're not wrong. You're 4 games away from Thanksgiving, and we all know the stat when it comes to Thanksgiving where you sit in the playoffs. Now, last year, the Blues bucked that trend. I don't know if I'd be banking on a 12-game win streak to put them back into a situation like that. So right now, the Blues had to figure out how to make the turn of those 50-50 moments that result in the opposition winning a hockey game versus them winning the hockey game. And until they figure that out, they're going to find themselves in the same position where they keep looking on the bad side of a loss versus picking up that first victory and then giving themselves the chance of stringing together some wins. So that's just kind of where it's at right now. And unfortunately, it results in a loss. And the Blues look to get it right on Thursday when they take on the Philadelphia Flyers. That game on Thursday is at 6 o'clock. A little revenge action for the Blues after that game against Philly went the opposite direction in St. Louis. 6 o'clock puck drop on Thursday with a pregame skate beginning at 5:30. Extended pregame at 5 o'clock here on your flagship station, 101 ESPN. That'll do it for us tonight. A huge shout out to Jordan Deacon, who's done a great job for us. Thank you to all of you for listening, tuning in, and commenting and joining in on the conversation. We'll talk to you Thursday night when the Blues take on the Flyers. Coverage starts at 5 right here on your home for the Blues, 101 ESPN.
Thanks for listening to the First Community Credit Union Blues postgame show.
Presented by Scott Lee Heating Company and Urban Chestnut Brewing Company on 101